All right, today we're going to talk about something called barrier analysis. It's this fantastic mental model for dealing with those problems where you feel like you're just hitting a brick wall over and over again. It's all about getting unstuck. Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels? You're advocating for yourself, you're explaining what you need, but you're just getting nowhere. It is so incredibly frustrating, and honestly, it's exhausting. What if the problem isn't how hard you're trying, or even the strategy you're using? That's a huge what if. What if you're using the right tools for the wrong job? The real issue might be that you haven't really nailed down what kind of problem you're actually up against. So let's get into why we feel so stuck sometimes. Often it really just boils down to a simple mismatch. We're treating every single obstacle like it's the exact same thing. If you try to solve a huge systemic issue by just, reading another book, you're going to burn out. Or if you treat a tricky personality conflict like it's just a simple misunderstanding, you're honestly not going to get anywhere. And this approach, it doesn't just waste your time and your energy, which are super limited. It can actually make things worse. It can make you feel like just throwing in the towel. So this is exactly where barrier analysis comes into play. Think of it a bit like putting on the right pair of glasses and bringing this huge, messy, totally overwhelming problem and click, suddenly it's in sharp focus. It does that by helping you sort the problem into 4 different levels. That's the first real step to actually doing something that will work. So what are these 4 levels? Let's break it down. The first level is individual. This is stuff that's within you, your knowledge, your skills, your capacity. It's all pretty straightforward. Next, you've got the interpersonal level. This is all about your specific relationships with other people. And then you might zoom out a bit. You see the third level, which is the institution. That's the rules and policies, or maybe even just the culture of a specific place, like your job or your school. And finally, the big one, the systemic level. These are the huge structural forces, laws, societal norms, the way things have always been done that cut across pretty much every institution out there. And I want to pause on that individual level for a moment because this is really important. This is not about blaming yourself for what you don't know. Not at all. It's about spotting the things that are actually within your control, the things you can change all on your own. So let's take it up a notch. These 4 levels almost never show up by themselves. They're often all tangled together. They build on each other. They make each other worse. And figuring out how they're all connected, that's the key to building a strategy that has a real chance of working. I know this can seem a little abstract, so let's walk through an example. Let's talk about Sam. Sam is an employee who has epilepsy, and they need a flexible schedule at work so they can make it to all their medical appointments. That sounds pretty reasonable, right? But for some reason, the request keeps getting shot down. So let's use our new lens, see what's really going on. When we look closer, we'll see a few things are happening here. First, there's an individual barrier. Sam didn't really know how to talk about this request in a way that made sense for their manager or for the business, which often might be by talking about productivity or something like that. Because of that, it triggered an interpersonal barrier. Sam's supervisor just didn't get what fairness means under the law and dismissed it out of hand. And holding this up was a big institutional barrier. The company had 0 formal process for this kind of thing, so the supervisor was basically left on their own, completely unsupported. Can you see how they're all connected? One problem is feeding the next, and discovering this was the key to Sam's breakthrough. It wasn't about tackling the biggest problem first, it was about tackling them in the right order. First, by fixing that individual gap, by learning a new way to frame the request. Sam basically gave themselves the key to then unlock that interpersonal barrier with the supervisor. And once they were on board, the accommodation was approved. So this is what it's all about, turning this analysis into an actual strategy. Once you can see all the different pieces of the puzzle, you can stop just throwing your energy at the wall and start thinking, where's the smartest place for me to push? That brings us to the most critical question. When you're staring down one of these big, messy, multi-level problems and You're already running on fumes. You just can't do it all. So where on earth do you even start? How do you decide where to focus? Look for your leverage point. And the leverage point isn't necessarily the biggest, scariest part of the problem. No, it's the one small action that's going to cause a ripple effect, the one that makes the other pieces start to fall together. For Sam, the leverage point was learning how to reframe their request. That one little thing at the individual level created the shift they needed at the interpersonal level. Here's a practical way to find your own leverage point. Grab a piece of paper and make 2 columns. In column 1, write down everything you could possibly do right now with the knowledge, the energy, the resources you have today. In the other column, write down all the things that depend on something you don't have yet. More information, more support, whatever it might be. I believe once you do that, you'll start to see where to start. Focus on that first column to build some momentum. Consider where you might find the resources you need in the second column. Take it all one thing at a time. If you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Barrier analysis is a practice, not a final judgment. It's not about diagnosing your problem once and being done. It's a tool you can use over and over again. And the more you practice with it, the better you'll get at seeing the whole picture, and the smarter you'll be about where you put your energy. It's really about turning that awful feeling of being stuck into a clear roadmap for what to do next. I hope you'll check out our barrier analysis toolkit. Let us know what you think.